So, what happens when you take ideas and smash them together? Welcome back to the Idea Supply Chain, where we take a look at where ideas come from and what makes those ideas valuable. In today's video, I wanted to talk a little bit more about abundant communities and something I'm calling the Idea Lab. So, this past weekend, I kicked off Build Space Season 5 of Nights and Weekends, which, if you're not familiar, basically it's a uh, community of sorts that is really all about building something and putting it out into the world and kind of iterating on that over the course of 6 weeks. And in fact, not only am I doing it again, I've done it for like the last 4 seasons. Well, I think this will be I don't remember if I did season 1 or not. Anyway, I'm not doing it alone this time. I'm actually doing it with my 9-year-old. And there are a couple different reasons, but it really came up when my 9-year-old started talking about wanting to learn to code more. He's done a little bit of stuff in school and kind of on his own. He messes around with like modding games and things like that, but he wanted to do something bigger. And so when we're talking about it, I said, one of the things that I really wished I had done when I was learning to code is code more things without being told what to code. And, one of the things that I really never quite got early on was that if you can code, you can just build whatever you want. And even if you can't code, you can kind of learn all of that, right? And so I was really good at doing whatever the professors told me, or, when I graduated and got a job, I would build what I was told to build at work. But I never really built a lot for myself until the last few years. And I really feel like I missed out on a lot there. And so when he was asking about that, I was, telling him about this. And I was like, well, then there's this thing called Build Space, which I'm getting ready to do again. And he was like, oh, can I do it too? And I was like, I don't know. Can you? Like, yeah, let's do it. And so I'm really excited. He's got his own YouTube channel and is planning on kind of talking about his journey and learning the code and what he's building there. So I don't know how to go. I'm not really pushing him to do it. But he watched the kickoff with me and was really into it. And so I'm excited to see where that goes. But that takes me to my next topic, which is the concept of an idea lab. And this is actually what I'm going to be working on during Build Space. And I started working on it this past weekend because I've got a couple ideas that on their own aren't much. Basically, I've got a tool that will take a YouTube video and use it to write a blog. I also have what I call the Idea Collider, which is where you take two YouTube videos and smash them together along with some kind of intended result and see what you get. And that one's actually pretty cool because I've been trying to use it to build on-the-fly tutorials for things that I want to create. And so, let's say I want to create a mobile app that has kind of a ChatGPT interface and maybe use some generative UI components. I'll find a YouTube video on building a mobile app, and then I'll find one on building a ChatGPT clone and smash them together and see if I can get a tutorial that'll, give me step-by-step instructions on what to build. Now, granted, it hasn't been terribly successful yet in that case. I've noticed that working off of the transcripts of video makes it difficult. For example, it really wanted me to install Longchain instead of LangChain. But, a work in progress. I think I can probably improve that. And then finally, I've got an idea for kind of a writing tool for me to really help me kind of keep track better of the way we do things in Foster. Typically you do a check-in, kind of really think about how you're feeling coming in. And so I want to integrate that into my writing process by building out a little app that allows me to put in a check-in and then start writing and then kind of end the writing session, catalog the results, and use a vector database to kind of make it very easily searchable. And then that way I can kind of play around with that idea and just see where it takes me. And then also kind of tie in the how I'm feeling into what I'm writing and see kind of what trends emerge. So anyway, I wanted to kind of put all of these things out there. And that kind of gave me the idea of this Idea Lab, because I think what I really want to do is use this as the starting point for an abundant community. And I'm tying it into my newsletter over at engineeringgenerosity.com, because I believe that one of the things I need right now is I need a pretty tight-knit group of people who understand what it is that I'm trying to do. And, with abundant systems, I want to provide tools that they can use to then go out and provide value for other people. And so I want to figure out the value I'm creating as a function of the value that other people are creating. I want to give people something small that they can turn into something big. And so by building out a community around this Idea Lab concept, I think that I'll be able to grow a user base that then I can potentially find co-founders for various ideas from, or even if not co-founders, potential marketing partners, distribution partners, just something where people can take what I'm doing and use that to also benefit. I think, we get too wrapped up in trying to do everything ourselves. And I say this as someone who does exactly that all the time. So I'm really trying to focus on how can I give other people the opportunity to take what I'm doing and build on it, because that's really the core concept within abundant systems, is this idea that you're part of a larger ecosystem. You want to integrate yourself into that ecosystem, and allow things to grow on top of everything that you're doing. It's the yes and of systems, if you will, the improv of systems, because that's how things grow and evolve. You want people to be able to add to everything you're doing. And then if I can do that, that means that I can get a lot of little products out in the world that much faster. I'm thinking about just doing kind of on a credit system where people can buy credits and use those to use the various tools, for a given number of credits. And then I think I'm actually going to do something too where the credits are going to go up in cost over time as the tools get more advanced, and we'll end up costing more in terms of LLM tokens and various other costs associated with a lot of these generative AI kind of solutions. So so I think starting out, I'm probably just gonna have it be like $1 a token, and then or $1 a credit rather, and then probably ramp it up to about $5 a credit when all is said and done. And so I'm still working out kind of how that's going to look, but that's at least the idea. And then I wrote a newsletter over the weekend talking about the system and kind of giving some examples of abundant communities in action. I mentioned BuildSpace. I think BuildSpace is a great example. I've talked about Foster, the writing cooperative that I'm part of. And that's another just great abundant system. There's also the Lobel Spark community. If you haven't been following me for too long, you may not have noticed, but I do a lot of stuff with Lobel Spark. Lobel is one of my best friends, and I really love the supportive community he's built around the concept of ADHD and mental health in general. And it's really all about just providing a space for people to be themselves, and kind of someplace to get away from the world that judges people harshly on who they are and kind of what they do. And so that's definitely a great abundant community, and one that I'm going to be working with to actually convert that into something bigger, because I really want to scale that idea up quite a bit. And then finally, the Sublime app. If you're not familiar, um, it's a lot of different things, but it's a way to capture ideas online that are worth capturing. There's community aspect. I use it a lot for just inspiration when I'm writing or looking for quotes. I use it to save bits of writing that stand out to me. You can create collections, but I just love that like the cadence of the app's development is actually much slower and more deliberate. I made a comment in one of our like get-togethers of it's evolving at a human pace, which is so nice because I don't have to worry about constantly trying to stay up to date with the new features, new developments, new ways of doing things, because it doesn't change unless there's a reason to change. Everything that they do is very, very carefully considered in terms of what the users need and want, um, and what the whole kind of human centric philosophy of the product is. And so, kind of the whole community product, everything put together, I think really does embody the idea of these abundant systems quite well. So, excited to see where that evolves too. And so, these are some different examples of abundant systems in action, abundant communities. And so, going forward, one of the things that I'm looking to do is, really help other people grow out some of these abundant communities as well, because I think that there's a ton of opportunity here um, to do things in a more sustainable way. I see a lot of people building communities that are looking to grow as large as possible because that's kind of what's so-called valuable. And I don't think that's true at all. I think even just having a small core group, if you do it properly, can be a massively valuable asset when used correctly, when used as a part of an abundant system. And so that's what I'm looking to prove out. So anyway, if that's something you'd be interested in, please let me know. I definitely want to hear from you. I would love to talk about whatever community you're wanting to build and help you become, help you build that out in an abundant fashion to make it easier on you, to make it more beneficial to your members. And just turn it into something that's really worth being a part of, because that's probably the hardest thing to do right now on the internet, because there's so much going on. How do you stand out from the crowd? Well, you do it by understanding that there's so much going on, and you don't try to be the place where everybody is all the time. You need to think about, how can I make this able to be returned to and visited on their own cadence. And I think all too often we just want to overwhelm people with everything that we offer so people see how valuable it is. But in this case, I think, really letting people figure that out in their own time is really the way to go here. So anyway, I'll be sharing updates as to how kind of this experiment goes, how the Idea Lab evolves. I'll be showing some different things as Build Space goes on. A lot of energy there, so I'm planning on using that to really kick things off and get things going. So anyway, I guess we'll see how it goes. That's it for today. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you the next time.